how do you go from a safety net to being an entrepreneur and listening to that little voice that says, go be an entrepreneur, Tyler?
Well, I did not think I would be an entrepreneur at 20 years old. Not at all. Entrepreneurship found me through habits and relationships. When I was 20 years old, I was much more in a scarcity mindset. Yeah, sure, my parents did well and had a safety net. But me personally, I was not great at making money. Didn't have this crazy high school hustle, college hustle that I was making tons of money as a entrepreneur. I was on the opposite path, which was I started in college as an economics major because I did love learning about markets and wealth building, although I wouldn't have maybe framed it up that way. But then realized, oh shit, you have to get a master's degree, be a professor in this path. I don't want to do that. I don't want to stay in school my whole life. So I was like, all right, what is something I can at least have security and a job, which was history teacher. And it came from a place of scarcity. Literally, I have nothing else to do. I don't know what to do. Get a job, go the safe route. That's public education. So
interesting how it goes from the attitude today, because I know that's not truly the attitude that you have today, but I can see how it was in the past.
And not to cut you off, but I'll share like the big inflection point was I did have a really good role model in my life, which was my dad, who was going through a crazy growth mindset change in his late 30s, early 40s, became an entrepreneur at age 45, started 2 different businesses, started consuming content, Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan, all these, Benjamin Hardy, who wrote The Gap and the Gain. He shared a book with me that I read when I was maybe like 23, which was Personality Isn't Permanent by Benjamin Hardy.
Yeah. That's next on my bookshelf.
Phenomenal read as a 20-year-old. I also read The Defining Decade. All of it, like, gave it to all the seniors or something. And it was actually a really good book. Those 2 books put me on a path of thinking less of security, blend in, and more, how do you set yourself up for a thriving 30s?
Right.
So I became obsessed with the idea of investing to create an awesome decade later. Funny story, though, is like you actually get enthralled with the process now when you start to do those things.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I would say the only natural thing I did have going was the physical habits were really important to me because I just like the way I felt when I worked out. I liked the sharpness that you felt mentally and physically from that. So I realized, okay, when you start reading and start doing these things, whether it's real estate or investing, you can take that gym attitude. The gym is kind of a microcosm for life. You can go in and rip your biceps apart. They grow back stronger and do that again and again. And you see that physical change. Well, this is a little more hazy, but it's the same thing. Everything we were just talking about the past 30 minutes in real estate is the same thing. Yeah. It's just maybe doesn't look and feel, it's not as physically jarring.
Right.
The changes.
There's not a bench press that you can see.
But there are reps.
Lift the weight. But there are. 100%.
It's the coffee meetings. It's the going to the Roots events. It's the watching the videos and taking notes, right?
So it was a compounding effect over time for you that then helped.
So
build.
Yeah. So like the first, I mean, this is why the reason I became a realtor was not because I thought I was going to be some luxury agent and impress people with my Cadillac Escalade, like the stereotypical agent in $1 Million Sunset, whatever you call that show. It was because...
Don't actually sell any real estate, just look up their Zillow profiles.
It was because I love the process of buying my first home and becoming the owner of an asset because I changed. I worked on the weekends on my house instead of getting drunk at the bars. And then later saw the value of that and was like, damn, if I can do that with my own home, maybe I can help others do that and have a career.
Yeah.
So it literally was the compound effect. I love that someone said this. It's not like about habits. It's more about the compound effect, which is a weird way because you have to do the habits to get the benefits of the compound effect. But the compound effect is, in essence, start small, stack wins, which you have a small domino that leads into a bigger domino, which leads into a bigger domino.
Yeah.
So you start by cleaning up your bedroom, reading a book, which leads into buying your first home, cleaning up your house, which leads into starting a business. You actually do see that in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, So it's like you have to have the small wins to the medium wins to the bigger wins.
I was
and by
reviewing.
age 50, I know I'm going to have probably millions of dollars to steward, not out of selfishness and pride. I just think I will have had to take the responsibility to have those type of assets.
Yeah.
Same for you.
No,
you know?
and I believe that. I was reviewing a clip from Nate Spiegel's episode that we did, and he was talking about, just get the fuck up in the morning. And if you
popped off, people resonated with that.
Because if you get up and you're actually going out there and doing the thing, there's no reason why you won't get the win that you're after. Lazy people don't get wins. And yes, you can reframe that to like stay up late because you're going to keep grinding. But I truly believe that, the 5 a.m. club is a club for a reason. Yep. It's a club of billionaires because that's what it exists for. When you were talking about, I think that I always ask that question, and I probably did on the first internal episode that we recorded, is because I'm like, how do you go through that mindset shift on a long term? For me, it was like a cosmic wreckage of losing athletics and the ability to do athletics. And it was like, oh, that was my path to college. I'm only going to swim, right? That's the only reason that I want to be at a university. I don't care about the education piece of it. And that was my obsession at the time. Like I said, reflect 10 years ago, it was girls swimming and, how to flunk this class. It wasn't actually good habits. When I lost swimming, it made me create those habits because I lost my safety net, right? If for your entire life you're obsessed with like, okay, I'm going to go to the Olympics, I'm going to be able to be a professional athlete, and that's the way, the direction, that's my next step and the horizon, that's what you do. But you lose that, and you're like, oh, shoot, where do I go? What do I do? Which side hustle school, you brought this up. Your dad's non-for-profit that he's working on, and I'm obsessed with it, very immersed in it. Tomorrow going to be leading at Avon, and I love the opportunity to get in front of high school kids and talk about entrepreneurship, because when I reflect back on my senior year, that's all that it was, trying entrepreneurship. I started a company called Simple Co. It was a t-shirt brand, had a lawn mowing company called, I don't even know,
you
give
were
me
doing
money
these
and
things,
I'll mow the grass.
and you probably felt like you weren't making much progress. I mean,
I wasn't
at the beginning.
No, I was just annoying people.
It's cool
and losing
to see,
money.
Same thing. I wanted to start this garden bed. I made these garden beds that you could pick up. They were wooden. And I was like, I made a website. I sold one to my uncle. And I was like, I'm never doing that again. It was like slaving away for like 5 hours to make $90. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But building the website, getting the sale led to Roots Realty.
Right.
If I didn't do that,
I absolutely did.
You gotta basically jump in the pool and drown and tread water a little bit before you're swimming like a champion.
Yeah, and I had one person in my life that was ahead of me, just a little bit ahead of me, that had a media company that had taken the leap, moved out to LA and was doing the thing. And before he left, he had graduated high school, and like that, you can, if you have enough credits, you can graduate in December or whatever. And for 6 months, everybody was like, he's not going to college. Why did he graduate early? Why is he's not furthering his education? But he was grinding behind the scenes, building a media company that's worth like millions now. And it's really cool to see. But he said one thing that stuck with me. He said, why go to college when there's a Barnes & Noble up the road?
Wow.
Makes no sense. Why would you go to college?
Right.
Because I can go into Barnes & Noble and spend $25, buy a book, and learn an entire semester's worth of course material there. So I went home, ran into the living room, and I'm like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to Barnes & Noble. And my parents were like, huh? What?
0 to 100.
Right. Because it made sense.
Yeah.
Like you just pick up the books and you educate. For me, I had that cosmic switch, had somebody where I was like, all right, I'm going to go try it. Tried like 17 different side hustles. None of them stuck. And wound up getting to a point where I'm like, oh, real estate, it makes sense, and never looked back. And that's where we are and how we got here.
Real estate is the dumbest entrepreneurs can get rich in real estate.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could buy a property overpriced and in 10 years be a millionaire, maybe not a millionaire, but have lots of equity.
Right.
It's super easy to mess up and still win because everyone needs a home.